There's another story that fascinated me in the New York Times this week. They reported that the Trump administration is considering a radical overhaul of the U.S. refugee system that would slash the program and give preference to English speakers, white South Africans, and Europeans who oppose migrations. That's the way the New York Times reported it, but you go down further in the story, and they say the proposed changes would put new emphasis on whether applicants would be able to assimilate into the United States, directing them to take classes on American history and values and respect for cultural norms. Now, Karol, I really wanted to get your opinion on this because you were born in the USSR, in the old Soviet Union. Your family was taken in by the U.S. And what's your reaction to this? Should the government be prioritizing people who are prepared to love America rather than people who come from cultures that bear a grudge against it and want to tear it down?
Oh, absolutely. And I can't say that my family knew that much about America, but what my family did know about America, they wanted in. They wanted to be a part of it. They knew about the freedom. They knew about the fact that you could live your life the way you chose to live your life, and they wanted it. They didn't know a lot of the details. I always tell stories about my parents getting to New York and seeing like a fancy department store and thinking like, oh, there's no way we'd be allowed to go in there unless we show them our money. Things like that. They didn't know all the details of American life, but they knew that they wanted to be part of the culture. They wanted their kids to be American. I'm actually named Karol with a K because I was born in the Soviet Union and because my parents wanted me to have an American name, but they misspelled it, and that's the way it goes.
Well, I don't think it's a misspelling. I think it's perfectly spelled, Karol. But I also played some comments earlier from Kamala Harris, speaking of great Americans here, spelled with a K, claiming that she was the most qualified presidential candidate ever. Can she get any more ridiculous with this book tour she's on? And do you think that she may be trying to, God help us, make a play to run again in 2028?
It's certainly possible. And, I don't think she has any chance to get even out of the Democratic primary, but I could see it happening because what else does she have going on? I'll tell you, in that same interview, she was asked, like, what would be some of your major issues? And she couldn't name one, not one. This most qualified presidential candidate in history couldn't name one thing that she might potentially run on in a future race. She just was always understudied, never had her homework done, never knew exactly what was going on, always was given projects that were way over her head. And look, the president that she was vice president for was barely there himself. So we have no idea who Kamala Harris is or what she wants or what she represents.
Well, I don't know about you, but personally, I'm kind of hoping she makes a run for it just simply because so much great material for this program here. Before I let you go, I also want to talk about this other story that was broken by Politico.com this week, which exposed thousands of text messages from young Republicans in a group chat with members joking about things like slavery and the Holocaust. And it's led to a huge controversy with Democrats saying, oh, everybody here has to resign, everybody involved with it has to be canceled, all of this. But J.D. Vance had an interesting response. He took to Twitter to respond, and he said this highlights the lack of outrage when it comes to Jay Jones, the gentleman who's running for Attorney General in Virginia, and his horrific text messages where he fantasized about killing children, which is fairly worse, I would say. Now, Vance wrote, quote, "This is far worse than anything said in a college group chat." And the guy who said it could become the Attorney General of Virginia. I refuse to join the pearl clutching when powerful people call for political violence. Karol, sort this out for us.
It's tough because, when I read the Politico piece, my first instinct was they had a paragraph blaming these comments that these, idiots made on Donald Trump, saying, oh, this stems from Donald Trump's rhetoric. And it absolutely does not. So that was my very first take on it. I don't think it's difficult to say these people should be fired. They should have to step down from their roles. What they said was beyond the pale. But the Democrats don't do this at all. And so the governor candidate in Virginia, Winsome Sears, the Democrats of Virginia said, oh, Winsome Sears has to say that these people should step down. And her comment was perfect. It was like, they should step down. Now you go.
Yeah, absolutely right. I think that pretty much sorts it out. Karol Markowicz, thank you so much for joining me here tonight on the U.S. Report. Now, stick around because after the break, a report on the latest news out of NBC, where a DEI program is DEAD. But first, let's check in with the president, who's got some words to say about Stephen Miller, his gloriously obsessive border security advisor.
This is many, many steps above. And I want to thank Stephen Miller, who's right back in the audience right there. I'd love to have him. I love watching him on television. I'd love to have him come up and explain his true feelings, but maybe not his truest feelings. That might be going a little bit too far. But Stephen, thank you for doing an unbelievable job.
Yeah, I'd love to know those truest feelings too, but you know what? I'm not sure I could broadcast them.